Welcome back once again to the Damon Floyd Coaches Show here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. I'm your host, Gary Omby. Our programs each week brought to you by Trophies Unlimited out there on Mimosa Drive, as well as L&B Appliance on Durkee Road. We appreciate their continued support of Bradley Center Football. Being joined by Coach Damon Floyd here. And Damon, looking back last Friday, 23-17 win at Hardin Valley, a big win, a road win, a region win, more importantly than anything. We had to have that win to stay in contention and possibly finish, where we want to finish in the region. But recap that in your mind. Special teams had a big role there. We had a block punt by Tay Sheehy that set us up on the 5-yard line. We scored our first touchdown. We had a field goal kick by Holden White. And special teams are a huge part of any football game, and they come through first Friday night.
Yeah, it's one of the few games that we've won special teams, on field position. So it's something we've really been working on. And not only the field goal and then the block punt was obviously huge, but then, the only time we punted Friday night, we pinned them pretty deep. Mm-hmm. So we could have went for it on fourth down, but, our defense was playing good at that point. So felt like if we pinned them, it would be tough for them to drive the length of the field. And Brady did a good job of doing that and punt team coverage. And so, yeah, it's a huge part of the game. It's something we've really been focusing on, the past couple of weeks. And if you're going to have a chance in this region and the teams we play, you've got to win the field position battle. So that was big for us Friday.
Well, we'll have a non-region game against Red Bank, which we'll discuss in a moment. The wing tee, once again, it worked for us. It's not flashy. It's not explosive. It's just grind it out, and you told me a few weeks ago, you give me 3 or 4 yards every play and get us up with 4 short, we're going to go for it, no matter where we're at on the field. And the guys did a good job of that, and you've got a whole corral full of running backs with 5 or 6 of those guys you just interchangeably switch. And what I saw the other night was, as one player was leaving, the other player was coming in with the next play call. Is that how you sort of laid it out?
For the most part, we can signal them in if we need to, like if we feel like the running backs are in a groove. But we feel like, at this point, we got a lot of guys that are playing both ways due to some injuries and things like that. So we feel like we try to keep them fresh and let them rotate in and out. And, I said at the beginning of the year, it's probably the deepest running back group we've ever had. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when I say that, it may not necessarily be the best guy we've ever had, mm-hmm. but I do feel like we got 6, 7, 8 guys that can go in and carry the ball and block for each other. And, really the wing tee kind of fits us this year as we've gone throughout the season with different things happening. So our guys are really playing hard. That's one of the things we kind of refocused on, midpoint in this season. Offensive line is coming off the ball. There's not a whole lot of thinking in the wing tee, blocking scheme-wise. You don't have to recognize fronts and things like that. So it's less thinking, and they're just able to fire off the ball. And I think each running back, they're taking great pride in blocking for each other. Tyree Stovall had a great game blocking, best he's had. So the guys are playing hard, and that's all you can ask. But, it's not flashy. It's one of the things we talk about. We think about when we meet as coaches is, do we add certain things? But I think at the end of the day, it is what it is, and it's not pretty. And, we're not going to throw the ball a lot. We're going to take some shots every now and then, but we've got to control the clock and get first downs and those kind of things to be successful. So I think they're getting better at it, but, the competition will be a little different this week. So Red Bank's a little bit more athletic, and, we'll have our hands full of blocking them at the line of scrimmage. We got a lot of people walked up there. We realize that. But it is what it is. You got to maintain a block, and the running back's going to have to beat a block. They're going to have to break a tackle.
Well, is the wing tee a challenge to install? You had an extra week there. I talked to Coach Stanford yesterday. He said, looking back now, I was not for that to start with early in the season. He said, I was just opposed to it. He said, thinking, man, I was sort of crazy. I should have gone that way. And you mentioned yourself last week that, hey, I'm the idiot you called yourself. And I'm the idiot that didn't put it in there earlier. But and you're right about a lot of things there. The kids really fight hard for each other, and they're tickled to death, to give them that block there. And they're all playing hard. Is the blocking scheme easier for the linemen because, hey, they're in the box, we're in the box. I got to take care of my guy. You don't have to worry so much about pushing him one way or the other.
Well, it's not necessarily a guy. It's just your rules that you go through. It's no secret in the wing tee. If you got a guy, it's gap down backer. So in other words, if somebody's in your gap, you're blocking them down. If nobody's in your gap, you're down to the backer. So, in the spread offense, there's just a lot of things you have to recognize. At the offensive line position, different fronts, different blitzes, who's got who, depending on how you call it. And then also there's a lot on the quarterback, along with the receivers, depending on what the coverage is that changes your routes. But, I said it early on, I was wrong of waiting this long, but you had to because it's not easy. You can't install it in a week. And I think from the time we've installed it the past 3 weeks, we've gotten better and better and better.
That's
and
what
we
Brett
still
was
made
saying.
we still made some mistakes Friday night. That's not, the kids are playing with great effort. So that's our job as coaches to try to show them, and we got to do some film study today to, they did a lot better, but it's a consistency thing. And sometimes, it's hard to break some old habits. Because in the spread offense, it is different blocking scheme. So, but they're getting better, and I really feel like we expected some things at the beginning of the year just to continue on like they have in years past, and they didn't. And we kind of had to restart, and we talked about that. And our bye week, we were going to start the season over, and I think our guys have bought in. Practice got a little bit more difficult, so. The guys are buying in, and as long as they're playing hard, whatever the results are, and that's all we can ask for as a coaching staff. We're dealing with a lot right now, just from an injury standpoint. I think we got now eight starters out, so that's tough. But it gives other guys an opportunity to play, and it's next man up philosophy. Whoever's in, you go as hard as you can. But we do have some guys like Landon Scott, who's played both ways the past few weeks, and he's played extremely well. He got, a matter of fact, I think 2 weeks ago he got Defensive Player of the Week. I think last week he got Offensive. It could be vice versa. But he's got Players of the Week the last 2 weeks. But he's a senior that's given everything he's got. We lose Will Paisley for the season now at defensive line, and we asked Landon to move to defensive end, and it's yes sir, I'll do whatever it does to help the team. So now he's moving from a linebacker position to a defensive end position, and also running the ball. So it's things like that. As a coach, those are the things that make you proud.
Yeah.
Because that's what's important. I mean, we want to win all the games. But it's really, what are you doing to try to win the games? And it's unselfishness, guys playing for each other, and that's what makes me happy and makes me, I don't mind going out to practice every day because guys are going to show up, and they really are giving everything they got, and that's all we can ask for.
Well, you hit it on the nail there, and you're talking about you want to win the game, but hey, I want to do what's right, and the kids are going to work hard, and if they go down with the fight and the spirit, hey, we can live with that.
Right.
And we talk about those running backs. We never mention the offensive line. We got to mention them too. Those guys are out there. You don't win at any level without an offensive line that can block. I don't care if you got Steve Sloan or Johnny Unitas in the backfield.
Well, that may help.
Yeah, that would
if you got those guys, it helps.
But you know what I'm saying. It starts with the line. They've got to block to start.
Coach Watson has done a really good job since we've switched to the wing tee, and those guys are playing extremely hard.
Yeah.
The good thing is we don't lose anybody on offense.
Right.
They're all back. So, and our tight ends and those kind of things. So, like I said, it's not our whole team. Our whole team is giving great effort every day in practice and every night on Friday night right now. And I know coaches like to say it's not about winning and losing. To us, winning is winning every single rep. And if you win the game Friday, that's awesome. But if we're being honest, they're going to win in life because of these things they're doing right now. And I do believe that because I was one of them that went through it. And this game, it helped change probably, the path that I'm on. And who knows where I'd be if I didn't have this game, I guess. And that's what's important to me is these guys being better men from it. And I'm telling you, they're learning lessons like that right now.
What would you be doing if you weren't in education and coaching? Any idea?
Jail? No, I don't know. Hope not. Who knows? I mean, I've just always loved this game and everything about it. And when I got out of college, done playing, I went into sales for a little bit, and it was like I miss just being part of the team.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun to me is I enjoy trying to build a team, but I really enjoy being part of the team and just doing my part and everybody working together. So I don't know what I'd be doing, but I love doing what we're doing right now.
I always ask the players to interview them, especially the seniors, because essentially you hear some wild, crazy answers sometimes about what they think they're going to do. Let's take a break. We'll come back after these words, and we'll talk about the Red Bank game coming up, a non-region game, homecoming 2024. We'll talk about that in just a moment.
Welcome to L&B Appliances, serving the greater Cleveland community for over 30 years. Family-owned and locally operated, L&B Appliances specializes in top name brand appliances like Whirlpool, Maytag, and Amana. Stop by the showroom today and speak with our sales and service team about your appliance needs. Financing and free delivery is available for those who qualify. L&B Appliances, Large enough to meet all your appliance needs, small enough to appreciate your business.
Welcome back to the Coach Damon Floyd Show here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. As we begin to talk about our upcoming game Friday night, the Red Bank Lions, a very traditionally strong program. They've been in the playoffs 9 straight years. They won the state title in 2000 under Tom Weathers, who this young man here played for back in his day, who started at Red Bank High School. Came to Bradley, pretty good athlete, held the rushing record for a running back for several years at Bradley, Damon did, and also a state championship wrestler. But do you think about those days at Red Bank? That's so far behind you now.
It's been a while, but actually this past summer got together with some of my friends down there and played some golf and over the dead period. So still have some good friends from down there. Don't stay in touch probably as much as we should, but had great times there. That's where I grew up. I personally have a lot of respect for Red Bank's program. I don't think our kids really understand their program over the history because we've not played them a bunch. So it's nice to get back on the schedule. We know they're a tough opponent, but looking forward to Friday night.
Well, people don't know this, but Red Bank, we've played them more than anybody in our history except McMinn County. This will be the 63rd game with Red Bank, and nobody else is really close to that number of games except McMinn, who's at 101, 102 right now. Red Bank tradition is a very strong program. Coach there now, Ted Gatewood. He's a veteran coach, a savvy coach, and he's got talk about running backs. He's got Featherstone, who was their region running back of the year last season, had over 1,200 yards. He missed parts of 5 games, but had over 1,200 yards and 12 scores. Even with that, averaged over 125 yards per game this year. And Oliver Martin, I think's his name, he's averaging right at 100 yards a game this year. So you're looking at 200-something yards rushing right off the bat, and they're passed for 125 per game. That's a loaded offense, no matter how you look at it. So the challenge is going to be for your defense this week.
There's no doubt. There's no secret. They're not in the wing tee, but they're establishing the run. And then they take some shots and then some quick screens that you got to line. They're trying to just spread you out a little bit, and if you don't, they're going to throw quick screens. But they got guys that can make plays, and they're scary out on the edge. And Coach Gatewood's old school, and we've seen. I've faced him a lot in the coaching days, and there's no secret. It's about physicality and who's going to run the ball. He's going to play smart defense, try not to give up the big play. So I think you'll see a pretty quick game Friday. I don't think anybody's going to really air it out too much, but there's no doubt we have got to slow down their run game. And you talk about those guys' stats, they probably have a whole lot more. But like last week, those guys didn't even play in the second half. Right. There's been quite a few games where they're not playing and racking up those yards. So they're not playing for 4 quarters. But it'll be a very physical game. I know they're looking forward to coming up here. So, like everybody has, it's kind of been their revenge tour for us from last year. So hopefully our guys are up for the challenge, and I think they will be. And it'll be a good game and probably a dogfight.
Well, people may not realize this, but the old-timers like me who were there, the very first game we played on this field right out here was against Red Bank. That's back in 1972. We opened that season on the road at Bearden. We had another home game schedule, just Chattanooga Central, but couldn't play because our field wasn't ready. So we played at Cleveland High. Had a couple more road games, and the 5th game of the year was Red Bank right here in Bear Stadium, very first game. And it was an overflow crowd, as you might get. Everybody want to be there. Probably 10,000 people say we're there now, but had a raging thunderstorm in the first quarter that cleared the stadium, and the teams. Bradley finally scored Greg Hickson an 86-yard run for the first score ever in Bear Stadium. So that goes on his record book, his resume. And nobody scored again until the 4th period, and there was 11 fumbles because the field was it was a hog pen, a mud place. And Red Bank scored on the very end when their quarterback threw a pass that was deflected, and the receiver had fell flat on his back in the end zone due to all the slop, and he caught the ball. Neither team made a PAT because of the conditions, and it was 6-6 to end the game. So what's that mean? It means nothing, but it's just an interesting fact to throw out there. People don't realize it, but it was the very first game played.
I think it means a lot because it's part of Bradley history.
It is.
That's important to us.
It is. And another thing about Red Bank, too, is people, and this is nothing to do with our coming game Friday, but Keith Beatty, who we all know, the late Keith Beatty, he was a Bear player at the time, and he kicked the very first field goal ever made in Bear history where you snap it, hold it, and kick it off the ground. Because it was a drop kick, like a punter back in those days. And he kicked the very first one because Harold Hensley saw him in practice as a manager and said, hey, can you kick like that in the game? I think so. That's how he got it. Very first field goal over there. That was against Red Bank. Bears won that 16-7 too, though. Look at their running attack. I know you're preparing for that. Is that what scares you the most as far as we just got to figure out a way to stop that, and they'll come up and pass it on it?
Yeah, obviously, and I've said this multiple times, you prepare for your opponent, but what scares me the most is still the mistakes we're making. Mm-hmm. We had a chance to put the game away late Friday, and we turned the ball over. You can't do those things. One thing we did improve on, I think we had 2 penalties Friday night, and one of them they declined, so we ended up having 1 penalty. So that's a great improvement, so we got to keep doing that, but it's just the self-inflicted. We don't want to beat ourselves. We want to play smart, and, like I said, don't beat yourself. And so as a coach, those are the things you worry about, turning the ball over, having silly penalties, giving up big plays, which we did again Friday night. So those are things we're trying to correct, and those are things that keep you up at night.
Well, Tucker Cook at quarterback, we hadn't talked about him, the freshman quarterback. We don't throw much, but he was 3 for 3 last week, and I think 6 for 6 the week before that. So he's been perfect the last 2 games. Not getting a lot of yards passing-wise, but we don't need to when we can make other things work out there. Mark Kutcher is our leading tackler on defense. I'm sure you've looked at him. Crutcher's his name. We had a Kutcher against us up there, the guy that kills 23, the running back for them from Hard Battle there. He's got 4 interceptions this season. That's a lot of picks for one guy in one season. We hadn't played but half a season for them. They've only played 6 games, I believe, because they missed a game there. But it's going to be a challenge. It's homecoming. Does homecoming add to the flavor of a Friday night game like this? I know you guys are inside most of the festivities.
I think our kids it affects. Yeah. I don't really know.
They don't want to lose on homecoming, though.
Well, no, I don't think they want to lose anytime, no matter if it's homecoming or not. But I don't even know the festivities going on, to be honest. I should probably be more involved in that, but we're focused on the game. So I'm sure our kids, it has an effect on them. But at the end of the day, when the ball kicks off, at this point in the season, everybody should kind of know what to do, and I don't think they're thinking about that. So if they are, then I'm dead wrong. But for us, it's just another chance to play. For our seniors, it's now the number of games are limited, very limited. So we've got to make sure they understand. I think they do, even though we don't have a large class of seniors. The ones that are playing, like we talked about, Landon and Jake Powell and Tyrese Stovall, who's giving great effort. Those guys, Ollie Scott, Jacob Gentry, I shouldn't have started naming them, but those guys understand what's at stake. Yeah. It's just another chance to play with a limited number of guaranteed games left. So, hopefully those guys lead the rest of our team. And our underclassmen, their job is to give everything you can for the seniors. And that's something that we talk about. It's not about you. It's about the senior class and trying to send them off the right way. So another chance to compete Friday. If you're not excited, then I don't know why you worked all 4 years to play in a game.
Can we keep them focused on Red Bank and not thinking ahead a week?
I don't know if it's focused on Red Bank. We're just trying to keep them focused on football in general and not social media and all those other distractions, girlfriends. They're high school kids, and so, they got a lot of things going on, which, look, it's a great time in their life, and football's a part of it, big part of it, so our guys understand that.
We wouldn't be so worried about those things if we hadn't been young ourselves one time. We didn't have social media back then, but
it's a good thing. So adds a little different perspective now, I guess. I'm off of it now, so I don't know.
We're going to wrap it up for this week on the Coach Damon Floyd Show, brought to you by L&B Appliances and also Tropes Unlimited. Our show is recorded here in Studio H12, Brighton Central High School, by the students here in Mr. Gwen Sawyer's class. We appreciate their help every single week for producing all of our shows. Till next time, be there Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff, 5:30 live on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. We have Homecoming 2024. Until then, God bless and go Bears.